friends, it's me, Jonah, and today I'm going to show you how to make this beginner-friendly, bulky crochet basket. And this basket is perfect for the beginner because it only uses 2 stitches, half double crochet and single crochet, which are some of the first stitches you learn as a beginner. So if you know those 2 stitches, you're all set to go to make this very sturdy and beautifully striped basket. And some of my favorite aspects about the basket is how well it stands up because they're using a bulky yarn and a medium-sized hook with single crochet, and single crochet is very dense, so it stands up very nicely. Another one of my favorite aspects is the self-striping effect. Like here it goes from cream to forest to more of a tan color to a very light brown. And then you have more of this forest color up here, all speckled throughout, and I just love how it comes together. And that's because of the yarn I decided to use, which is one of my favorites, Karen Sprinkle Cakes. It is self-striping, so you can see the colors just naturally come right out of the ball. And it's a super bulky 6, and guess what? There's 20% wool in here, 70% acrylic, and of course 3% viscose, which is the little flecks throughout. So that is the main aspects of the basket. And another thing that's wonderful about this basket is you only need 2 of these, and you can make this full size basket because the diameter is 11 inches and it's approximately 9.5 inches tall, but you can decrease that or increase that to your liking. And now what you'll need to make this basket is 2 balls of the Karen Sprinkle Cakes in whatever color you would like, an 8mm crochet hook. I'll be using my Furls Cookies and Cream Swirl, my absolute fave. And you'll also need a pair of scissors. A tape measure is optional, sometimes recommended for beginner, but not necessary if you want to check your gauge. And you'll also need to have the written pattern, which I'll link to below. And in the written pattern, they use yarn called Bernat Pop Bulky, which is very similar, and it has the same self-striping effects, except it's not tweeted. So that's another substitution if you would like. So let's get started, and I'm going to start by showing you how to make the base of the basket here at the bottom, and then you're going to come to the edge right here and start to work your way up, and we'll finish it off with handles and an adorable flower with a special button. Okay, so for the first step of your basket, you're going to take your yarn end and your hook and start by making a simple slip knot. Whichever way you'd like. There's many ways to make a slip knot. And then you're next going to make your chain 4. After I make my slip knot with a tail that's a little bit longer for cinching. And then you're going to start by chaining up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip stitch to the first chain to create a ring. Then you're going to chain up 2 or 1, your choice, doesn't matter. And then work 12 half double crochets into this ring right here. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now as you go around, you may think, oh, I'm at the end of my circle. All you have to do is grab your stitches by the base and then just shimmy them over. And then once you think you may have enough, come back and recount them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then you're going to insert your hook in the top of the first half double crochet, yarn over, and pull back through, and then pull through that first loop and pull tight. And you now have your base made, the first row of your base. And now you can either choose to cinch it by pulling this tail on the back and it closes up the hole, or you can just leave it how it was and then take care of that later. And now since this is a cake, the yarn naturally comes very smoothly from the self-striping center of the ball, so don't try to wrap it up, just let it come out, and how the yarn flows is how it's going to go for your project. So now you can next chain up 1 or 2. If you're going to chain up 1, just pull up your loop slightly. if you're going to chain up 2, chain 2 tightly. And work another half double crochet in that same stitch. And then another one in the same. So basically what you're doing is working 2 half double crochets in each stitch around. Two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And now if you do the math, in your first round you had 12 stitches. 12 half double crochets to be exact. And in this row you're putting 2 in every single stitch. So in the end, that means you will have twice as many. So you'll have 24 half double crochets. And that's how you'll be able to keep track of whether or not you're on pace, if you missed anything or screwed up. Especially if you're a beginner, this is a really easy pattern for you because the decreases are simple and easy to maintain stitch count. And with such a bulky yarn, it's very easy for you to count your stitches so that you don't have as high of a chance of screwing up as you would with, let's say, a fine weight, a sport weight, or a DK weight. That's why for beginners, I recommend a worsted and above. I'm going to slip stitch to my first stitch. And now, as an experienced crocheter, I can just glance here and see that everything's in line with 2 stitches stemming out of each one. But just to reiterate, I'll count with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Now I'm going to chain up 1 loosely. Work 2 half double crochets in the first stitch. Then in the next stitch, I'm just going to work 1. In the next stitch, I'm going to work 2. In the next stitch, I'm going to work 1. And then 2. And keep flopping out every other. And what this is going to do is this is going to increase your stitch count by 12. So if you have 24, and then you go ahead and divide that by 2, you'll get 12 again. So if you put an increase in 1 out of every 2 stitches, you'll increase by 12. So for the first 5 rounds of this basket, you're increasing by 12, and for the last round, you're increasing by 6, which you'll see what I mean once we get to round 6. Here I'm increasing by another 12, so 12 times 3 for 3 rows will be 36 once I'm complete. If you're a beginner, you can either count at the end, or, which I recommend you do, is count as you go. Like 1, 2, 3, to help keep yourself on pace. But of course, I'm almost near the end of my row, so I'll be more in the 25 area at the moment. And don't worry, if you're a beginner and your work is not as smooth as me, that's okay. I wasn't always this good at making these circles and making my baskets with super bulky yarn when I was a beginner too. It just comes naturally, so keep practicing. And if you need to, there's a gear in the settings where you can make the video faster or slower to your liking, because everybody has different preferences when learning how to crochet. Okay, I'm going to slip stitch the first stitch. I'm going to chain 1 and work 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, 2 in the second, so work 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, then 2 just standing, 2 half double crochets in the next stitch, 1 1 half double crochet in each of the next 2, 2 into the next, one half double crochet into each of the next 2, 1, and then 2, 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2. Then you're going to work 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. And now I'm going to speed up a little bit here so I can get to showing you the next round once I reach around this point, because it's actually the same. You're just going to continue putting 2 half double crochets in one stitch, and then in the next 2 stitches you just put 1 half double crochet. So it's actually a very simple round to follow. Two, and then here I'm going to work another 2, and then 1, and then 2, and then 1, 2, and I'm just going to work through the rest of these stitches here. And as you can see now, my color change has already happened on its own, like it just naturally will. Then I'm going to work my last 2 stitches, slip stitch to my first stitch, then I'm going to chain up 1, work a half double crochet twice in the first stitch, work 3 just standing alone in the next 3 stitches, and then I'm going to work another 2 in the next stitch, and then 3, and then I'm going to work 2, and continue this pattern of working 3 and then 2 in the same stitch, and 3 and 2 in the same stitch, all the way around. Okay, so I'm back, and you can see I finished my 5th row, and I've even started my 6th row because it's so simple I didn't need to take you through the start of it. So what you do is you'll start by chaining up 1, and then you're going to work 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, and then the next 9 just work 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then the next stitch, as you would obviously have guessed, we're going to work 2 half double crochets, and then 9 more into the next stitch, and then you can slip stitch, and it's time to start to create your wall. So here's the base of your basket, and I've gone around already, and I've made sure I've had 66 stitches. It's okay if you miss an increase or a decrease here, as long as you have 66 in the end and your basket bottom lies flat. So then I'm going to chain up 1, and through this top loop right here, the back loop of my work, I'm going to insert it in there, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. Go to the next stitch, do the same, pull through 2. Insert in the back loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert, pull up, pull through 2. Insert, pull up, pull through 2. insert, pull up, pull through 2. And you'll get pretty fast at this because this is the basics that you learn, and there's just a few steps to it, like 3 to 4, depending on how you look at it and what your perspective is on the single crochet. And see how as I come up, it kind of turns the basket on its side. So if I lay this part flat, you can see this part right here naturally wants to come up on its own and create like an edge. So I'm going to continue making sure I keep a solid tension on this yarn so that way it wants to stand up. Just half double crochet. Single crochet in each stitch around, going in the back loops to make it stand up. Single crochet. And you can see how you have to kind of maneuver your work and maneuver your basket as you go around and around and around. Single crocheting. And this is where the basket gets fun and also mindless. But what's fun about it is you can see your colors play out. At the bottom, you don't see the bottom of your basket, so it doesn't really matter what color it is. But you can make the same basket with the same type of yarn, just using different balls, and the basket can look completely different. That's because of the self-striping effect, and all the cakes aren't the same amount of colors in the same order, but that's the charm of the self-striping cakes. Because you don't want that. You want it to be each one's unique. And you can see how well it's standing up here as I expand my base. And this is, by the way, 11 inches in diameter, as you can tell in comparison to my hand. I'm just continuing to single crochet across. Putting 1 in the back loop of each stitch. I didn't have many stitches left. Oh, on my last one here already. So now I'm going to go and insert in my first stitch right here into both loops, and then pull the yarn back through those loops like that so it joins it and makes a slip stitch. And then I'm going to chain up 1 and keeping good tension, single crochet in the first stitch. We're going under both loops of the next stitch, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and keep doing that around and around and around. I'm just going to work some more of it with you so you can see how the side of the basket is going to stand up, but I'll work this relatively quickly. Okay, I'm just continuing to single crochet tightly. Not too tightly, but enough for the basket you'll be able to tell that it's going to stand up sturdily. Going into my next stitches, single crocheting. And if the basket ever comes up like this, all you need to do is just take a moment and flatten everything out. This, and let the sides come up. And you can see how the sides are angling up already. But you gotta keep going through like this. Single, 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 single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and continue single crocheting across. I'm almost finished with this row, and then after that, I'm going to have you on your own until you've reached a certain measurement and continuing to single crochet around and around and around. Just let me quick finish up this row of 66 single crochets in each row. And there you have it. That's your single crochet for the wall of your basket. And you can see how sturdy it is, how it stands up here. And if you're pulling the real basket, set this aside and turn it on its side a little bit so you can see it. You can see the body of the basket. You can see that this part right here is just single crochet. So what you're going to need to do is just single crochet from the bottom up to the handles, which is just single crochet round and round for 8.5 inches. And once you're done with that, meet me back here and we'll get started on the handles, and then after that, our flower. Okay, so I'm finishing up my last round of single crochets here, and then I'm have 8.5 inches worked. And then it is time to start the handles. So for the handles, I'm going to start by chaining up 1, single crocheting 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then next you're going to chain 10 for your handle space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then you're going to skip 10 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then next, you're going to work 26 single crochets. 23 single crochets, my bad. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 1, 22, 23. I'm going to going back and count to make sure. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 22, 23, chain up 10. And then I'm going to skip 10 single crochets. 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And single crochet in each of the final stitches until my slip stitch. And then I'm going to slip stitch the first stitch, chain up 1, single crochet in each single crochet until it's chain 10 space, which is a handle. So, single crochet. And then now that I'm at my chain 10 space, I'm just going to work 1 stitch into each of these chains. I like to turn my work and go under the back bump, like by inserting right here, coming back around and going through that back bump. But if you don't like to do that, you can just work straight around the chain like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then work just single crochets in each stitch until you reach the next chain 10 space. So that'll be 23 single crochets to be exact. Work 10 single crochets over your chain 10 space. Then you're just going to work single crochets in each stitch till the end. You're going to slip stitch to your first stitch. Cut your yarn. Yarn over, pull up. And then I just like to go back through the basket, coming around through, weaving in and out with my hook, scooping, pulling back through, and then insert, and pulling back through, and again. And then I'm going to come through here and cut my end. And then check around, see if I have any other ends. These are already crocheted over, so they can just be snipped right off. Okay, so now that I've established the side of my basket here, if I'll just lay it flat, it's time for me to make the flower. So let's get started with our flower. Okay, so for the flower, you're going to start by putting a slip knot on your hook, chaining up 4, and slip stitching to the first stitch from the hook. Now you may notice I'm using one of my absolute favorite cherry on top frill swirl hooks, and it's a 7mm. You don't have to go down in hook size, but I just like my flowers a little small, but most people like their flowers a little bit bigger, so I would stick with the 8mm. So then next you're going to chain up 1 and work 10 or 12 single crochets into this ring. 10 if you'd like a 5-petal flower, and 12 if you'd like a 6-petal flower. I'm going with 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slip stitch to that first stitch. And then you're going to start by single crocheting into that first stitch, working 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, single crocheting in the same stitch, skipping a stitch, and repeating that process for your second petal. Single crochet, 3 double crochets, single crochet, skip, single crochet, 3 double crochets, skip again, single crochet, 3 double crochets, and for your 5th petal, repeat that process one last time. Single crochet, slip stitch, and boom, you have your flower. Now you can take your scissors, snip that a little ways, and then take a nice long strand and snip that too. And then I like to just loop, pull back through, flip my flower over, take my hook and go in underneath these stitches, just kind of jam it under there. Going back and forth. And over and pull through. And just catch a few of those loops as you come across. And then snip it. Pull this strand tight. Snip it again. And I love attaching flowers to mine. And I mean, not attaching flowers to my baskets, and attaching buttons to my flowers, like right here. And I love this button because it was the button that were my grandma's before she passed away. And she gave her button collection to me, so I feel honored when I get to use them. So I'm going to thread my needle, coming around one section right here, inserting through the hole in the button, pulling it right out the other side. Okay, pulling this strand back down, and this one exactly to the opposite side. And then to make sure it's secured in the center, I pull it over, flip it, and pull securely tight through both sides. And now I just get to attach it to my basket, and then you're finished. And that is how you make your very own bulky crochet basket. And I hope you enjoyed it. It's a perfect project for a beginner, but also a fun, relaxing project for the more advanced to intermediate crocheter. And if you did like it, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Jonah's Hands. And please also don't forget to check out my crochet kits for kids to learn how to crochet. Here's one that's actually a little crochet pencil cup basket kit, which is like a little smaller version of this, but uses the same stitch, but has a few fun tassels. And I have 9 other different kits. And of course, my books. This is just one of them, my autobiography, Hello Crochet Friends, where you can get an autographed copy on my website, jonahhands.com. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and crochet away, friends.